2 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it.
This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents the People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, everybody. What's happening? What's going on? How is everybody feeling? What's the deal? We made it through another weekend. The earth didn't blow up yet, so we done made it through another week. And what's going on, AJ?
What's good? We've made it through another weekend. Made it to another episode, 416 to be exact. Simulcasting live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube today. That's my new word, simulcast. Instead of broadcasting live, we simulcasting at the same time on all these different outlets.
Yeah.
We're moving up in the world.
Yeah, man. We just trying to do some things, and I apologize that we are kind of late, but we're better late than never.
Yeah, new format, cleaner, crisper, allows us to do more, but we're still working out the kinks. So that's what that was all about. But we're here. We are here.
Just want to see, were we able to share them in the groups yet?
No, I didn't actually do that. I shared it on Messenger. I didn't share it in the groups. I can do that right now, though.
Yeah, because we're gonna while you're doing that, we're gonna go into the scent of the week. Oh, we're back. Here we go. The scent of the week, y'all. Scent of the week. We're still trying to get these things together. And the scent of the week, holiday time, is coming up. And here's another great scent for you. And we will have it. We will have the link for it in the description by the end of the night. But it's called The Kingdom by Lattafa. This is a great scent. It reminds me of John Paul Gaultier Gold, as you can see, the gold bottle. And we're gonna look. Let me take a quick look. at the notes, so y'all can understand what we're talking about. We're talking about the notes are vanilla, aromatic, amber, sweet, lavender, tobacco, fresh, spicy, green, herbal, and warm and spicy. And you could definitely smell that vanilla in the amber with the tobacco is very good. And what's really dope about this would last you for about 10 hours. 10 hours on, and you'll get a nice you get a nice scent bubble like around 2 feet, and it will last all day. And brothers, you'll get a lot of compliments. Ladies, this is a nice gift for you. We're gonna have the link up there. You can definitely get it. It's called The Kingdom by Latafa. Definitely get it, and we'll have the link. So moving forward, AJ, you got any local news?
Um, actually, a break from the politics, and I should have did this last week or the week before. Yonkers legend, the queen of hip hop soul, Mary J. Blige was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is huge. Um, Definitely want to congratulate her for almost like a 4 decade career of just making music to help people get through their drama. I seen a great interview. Shout out to Fat Joe who got a talk show. Um, I seen an interview with her on the Fat Joe. She was, talking about how even though she was in pain through all of those times, God used her through her pain to help heal other people, and that's been her career. And I just want to shout her out, the Queen of Hip Hop Soul, Mary J. Blige, Yonkers own. It's a huge thing, and it's huge that she's getting honored at this point because some of the other people that was being honored, they from the '60s and '70s, and they're just getting into the Rock
Hmm.
Hall of Fame. She's there now, so I just want to give her props. That's my local entertainment news. And Also, the Locks are coming back to Westchester County Center for the second time in 2 years. About to sell out the whole arena like they did last time. The Locks and Friends. I'm looking forward to that's going to be a huge show. Also from Yonkers Legends. That's it. I just want some entertainment news. That's it.
Right. So,
From the local side.
yeah. So what's up, Andrew? Andrew Wang. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the show. So he asked us this. Can we? We're gonna get to the politics, but we might as well start it now. Can we discuss Project 2025? Um, to be honest with you, I didn't read Project 2025.
It's like 900 something pages. I ain't read it either. It's
Now,
like
I didn't read Project 2025 because from what I read about it and what that they were reporting about it, um, even though Trump holds, I don't think that it will pass both houses, the changes. Um, I do know from watching interviews with Trump, he wants to go back to states' rights. So a lot of these departments will be state run. A lot of things that they said in 2025 is already run by the state. So as far as Department of Education, I really don't know. I do know we need some type of education overhaul in our educational system. I do believe in charter schools. That I do believe public people should have a choice where to send their child to school.
I
So
think
I
some of
don't.
the problems with the charter school argument that because we've done several shows on the whole
Mhm.
charter school is that private charter schools is one thing, but public charter schools take money from the public school system, the local public school system, and they already don't have enough money as it is to run the school system.
Right.
And I think a lot of the people that have problems with charter school have problems with public charter schools. My stepdaughters, when I lived in Georgia, my stepdaughters went to a private charter school, and the parents got to donate X amount of time, and that's how you pay
Right.
for it and everything.
Right.
And they have
But
the after school program for kids for parents who can't pick up their kids, and I had to donate certain many hours to be with the kids and all that other
right.
stuff. So I'm with
But
the
it's
private
about.
charter schools, huh?
Well, I'm with the public ones because parents need to have a choice. They're paying their taxes. They're paying their taxes. So if you don't want your child to go to a public charter school, then that school system need to get their game up.
Well, I'm
Like
just
you
telling you what
said,
some
oh
of the
no,
arguments.
and I'm just giving you my opinion to those who have that type of argument, right? Because sometimes if you're stuck in a lot of times in black communities, you're paying more taxes and you're getting less services. So if you have an opportunity, to send your child to a better school while you're paying school taxes, you should have that opportunity to do it.
So the other side of the argument, a good friend of the show, Charles Stearns, whose wife is the head of Amani Charter School in Mount Vernon, is that not only does it give you a choice, but those who don't want their kids to go to the public school end up sending their kids out of the city to another school. So
Yeah,
having a charter school in your city allows you to continue to let your kid go to
right.
supposed to be a better school in the same city without having to
Well,
spend
yeah.
money to send
Mm,
your kids out, going upstate and going everywhere
Well,
else. Those are
well,
the
well,
two
not
sides.
only
Those are the two sides of the argument. For
not only that. If you pay, I'm gonna use Mount Vernon as a thing. A lot of people. That's one of the highest tax cities in Westchester County. The highest tax cities in Westchester County. So you buy a house in Mount Vernon, then you got to spend another $30,000 to $40,000 to send your kid to another school, and you're still paying school taxes. That's 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 crazy. So I think public private schools are good, and parents should have a choice in where they can send their kids to, especially if they're paying taxes. And if the school system needs to step their game up, they need to step their game up. And it's about competition. It's all about competition, and it's about your child's education. You sent them to a private school, and you had to do those things, and you were still probably paying school taxes. So,
I
I
mean,
mean,
in the school, the thing was we could walk to the school too. It was like that close to us, so it wasn't like
yeah,
we
but you
was
was
taking the
still,
kids
but yeah, but you was paying for a private school and still paying school taxes, and your kids wasn't going to school.
well,
You
a
know,
public school, yeah.
right? We're
They were
going to a
going to
public
school.
school. Like I really don't, Andrew. Like I don't know because I wasn't being scared of Project 2025. Because I'm from Westchester, and Westchester is just as racist as any Trump voter, Democrats or Republicans. That's my personal feeling. So I think
So, Andrew, what is your perspective of Project 2025 when it comes to education? Because I know he's involved in the Yonkers public school system. What is your perception? Share with us. Share with us what you have a problem with it. Um, Now, I've heard a lot of negative stuff about Project 2025. I think there are bigger issues. Like the Democrats losing.
Project 2025 will ban books.
They're doing that in some states like Florida and everything
Yeah,
now.
but
So
that's up to the state. I think that's up to the state. I don't think they could uniformly all the states. I think that's state. I think we got to start. I think, brother.
I don't know. Listen. I just
Right.
want censorship in classrooms. I
Music
want to
teachers
say.
have
I want
issues
to. I want
without
to push back
having.
on one thing that you were saying, and only just one thing. We're talking about norms, and we don't have norms no more. So again, had I asked the question with a Republican president, a Republican controlled House, a Republican controlled Senate, and a Republican led Supreme Court, if there's a big if he was to do some of the things he promised to do, who was going to stop him? Well, like his whole thing is to break down the norms and break down the system and everything. So, what would stop him if he wanted to do some of
No,
the things
no,
that
the
was
Constitution,
threatened?
the Constitution is
He
set
wants
up
to tear the
against
Constitution
him.
down.
Yeah, but you can't. The process
He
of
wanted
even
to.
changing wait a minute, AJ, the process of changing the Constitution, you would not only have to, the states have to vote on it. The states, the
How many
states.
things? How many things have been done that people say couldn't be done
No, the
before?
states have to vote on it. Man, please stop. This is the process. So when we get to the process, let's see if the process works. The founding fathers put things in place to corrupt, to not to have tyranny, to think what they left over there dealing with the king. So let's not put what ifs. Let's not put what ifs. You have to have the process, bro. See, because that right there is putting fear. Because that's what the founding fathers put together. That's what the founding fathers put together. So it won't be tyranny. So let's work the
I hear you.
process.
Let's see how it plays out.
Right, let's see how it plays out. Because if what if was a fifth, we all be drunk. I'm not working on what ifs. I'm working on
Well,
what's
see,
there.
I wasn't talking about what if.
No, you just
I was
no,
talking about
because it is a what if.
what the man said. No, what the man said he would do.
But
Now
listen,
let's see
listen, every
what's going to
politician,
stop him
every
from doing some of the things he
politician,
said he was going to do.
every politician says they're
Like,
going
I
to do
mean,
something.
when people tell you who they are, when they
Things
people
can't
tell
be
you,
done. And things can't be done. We're talking just here, Project 2025, right? And they're talking about, oh, they're going to bring back Stop and Frisk. Well, Stop and Frisk ain't never left. They're talking
I see
about
you keep bringing
immunity.
that. When I have any,
No,
but
because no,
when
I'm
I have
using
this
that as
argument,
an
you bring up stop
example.
and frisk, then I am not. That's never nothing what I'm talking about. You
No,
always
no,
bring
no. That's
that
the
specific thing.
example.
I'm not
That's
talking
the
about that. I'm talking about
example that
specific
I'm
things he
giving.
said.
No. Listen. That's the example that I'm giving. Project 2025. We're talking Project 2025. Project 2025 from what people are saying, because I'm not reading 800 pages of bullshit. I'm not doing that. And I'm not getting scared on that. So if Project 2025 is saying all these things, some things are already embedded. Some things is left up to the states. So what are the states going to do? Because if you look at Florida, the state changed all that. So they didn't need to do that. They didn't need the president to do all the things that they're saying. Came right straight from the governor. At the end of the day, all politics is local. See, and then we get local politicians pushing their bullshit off to the federal government when they have the power to take care of it right then and there.
So here you go. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's everything is local, and whatever your concerns are, you need to be active locally. Locally at your city council meetings, locally at your school board meetings, locally at all these things, because you have that power locally, which then goes to county after that, and then goes to state. The people have the power. If someone is going to push something that is against your agenda and something you're not feeling, you, the people, have the power. But you have to be engaged. You have to be educated on what these local politicians are trying to do. You have to push back when it doesn't is something that doesn't meet your needs or your agenda or goes against whatever. You, the people, it doesn't matter. It matters less what is being said on a national level. If we're more engaged in our local politics, we can stop that BS locally. And enough people stop it locally in the different cities and municipalities and counties, then statewide, they won't be able to do half the things that they're talking about doing. So
Period. Period.
it is on you, the people. We don't understand the message. Since you want to talk about the words of the founding fathers, we, the people, are the beginning of that document. There are much more of we, the people, than there are elected officials. The problem is we, the people, have surrendered our rights, not got involved, and allowed the politicians to do what they want to do. We, the people, have the power. And when we, the people, understand that we have the power and utilize the power that we do have and get involved in our local elections and our local governments and all of that stuff, people, they, the town, you have town halls and talk about all this stuff, y'all don't show up. The council, when they're going to pass legislation, they have meetings and y'all don't show up. The school board wants to do certain things. Mount Vernon school board just had a meeting about the different transfiguration of the schools going from K-8 to K-6 and then or whatever. Very few people. I saw the Zoom. Very few people were on the Zoom and were in the meeting. You have to. You can't not be involved and complain on what elected officials are trying to do.
So to change the Constitution, right? It has to be 2/3 of the majority of vote, both House and state and Senate. Then it has to be a constitutional convention. And convention called for by 2/3, 34 out of 50 of the state legislators. And it says this method has never been used to date. Then you have the ratification of the amendment, right? Is 38 out of 50 of the states have to vote for it. It's still left up to the people. It's still left up to the people. So at the end of the day, if 38, whatever happens, it's left in the hands of 38 states. You got to get over 38 states to change the Constitution. So it's back to the people. It's back to the people.
Didn't
So guess what? If it
Trump win at
changes,
least 38 states?
huh?
Didn't
Yeah,
Trump win at least 38
no,
states?
but see, that's democracy. At the end of the day, bro, that's democracy. They said democracy wouldn't work. Unfortunately, he won. But the reason why he won is because the Democrats' message sucked. It was horrible. So if someone is campaigning against certain things, or if this is out, you got to do a better job. They better do a better job than what they did with this, especially when you spent over $1 billion in a campaign. So, Andrew, at the end of the day, I'm not sure, but we're talking the Constitution. It's still left up to the people. Now, the Department of Education, I'm not really sure.
We need to bring somebody like Cynthia, some people that deal with education.
Right, to really talk about it, because I'm not an educator. I don't know. I'm not an educational,
I do want to say one thing, though. While everybody was talking about Project 2025, which technically wasn't written by Trump, he did release Agenda 47 that nobody was talking about.
Exactly.
And since you talked about stop and frisk, that's where he announced his plan to end crime and restore law and order and bring back stop and frisk. That's
Right.
what
That
wasn't in Project 2025.
No.
His agenda.
No. You keep missing what I said. There was a commercial that was advertised by a group on Instagram that he was Project 2025. He was bringing back stop and frisk. I keep saying that.
But who was the group, though?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but we quote groups that we don't even know. Who was the group?
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What he said, we already have stop and frisk. Stop and frisk never left. Stop and frisk is voted on by the Constitution. Stop and frisk was approved by the Supreme Court. It never left. It's called the Terry stop. And any police officer that goes, or law enforcement officer that goes through academy is taught about the Terry stop, because you can't have policing without the Terry stop. You can't do it. The problem is if you use the Terry stop and you target a specific group of people, and that makes it illegal, like they did in NYPD, which they had to have some officers bring in recordings in the briefings to show that they were directing people in certain areas to use the Terry stop.
Well, I'm looking at Agenda 47, and I believe that a lot of people need to read that because that was written and released by Trump.
No, but that's on his thing.
Yeah, that's released by Trump. It's equally disturbing, but that's no one's talking about what
Well,
he
I mean,
released.
people, and we're going to get into, well, guess what? If the Democrats was not belittling people and having Meg Thee Stallion and all these dumb people shake their ass on stage, and these entertainers that nobody was listening to, and really talked about the issues at hand, maybe we wouldn't be talking about Agenda 47.
We weren't talking about Agenda 47. Nobody talked about it. Have a meeting, but we'll watch the rest of the show. All right, yo,
Thank you.
Andrew,
All right, have a blessed day, brother. Thank you.
As I told you in Messenger, and for anybody else who comes in and sees part of the show can be rewatched in its entirety on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Black Westchester. Every issue of the show is on blackwestchester.com, so you can go back and see previous shows. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, leave your comments, and join. Thank you, Andrew, for leaving comments. We do this to engage with the people. So whether you agree or disagree, we want to hear from the people. You know what I'm saying? That's, the people that are listening. What do you say? What do you feel? So thank you, Andrew, for your comments.
So,
LinkedIn too. You can also watch it in LinkedIn too. Go ahead.
so there's a couple of things, man, which the there's a couple of straight disturbing facts. First of all, Kamala Harris. I just want to be straight. Kamala Harris gave it her best with what she had, and
And the 117 days she had to do it.
right, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough because they had a number one. You don't go into an election involved in a war. You don't do it. You don't do it. They should have reined in Netanyahu's ass and got some type of ceasefire immediately. Number two, whether you promote the economy as being good, people feel the punch. And you should be, and the campaign and the message should have been more sympathetic. Oh, no, don't believe your pockets. We're saying the economy is good. No. That's not good. And what really killed it was what really killed the whole thing was the immigration. This is why she lost those border states. If you look, Trump won the border states. And I'm gonna be honest. When you talked about women's rights, that was kind of mute because it was all left up to the states. That's why Prop 1 passed in New York and the other ones passed in the other states because it left it up to state rights. Again, left it up to state rights. So I mean, the message that the Democrats gave her was horrible. It was horrible, and I really hope, and now they're blaming Biden and everybody to blame but themselves. They put her in a bad situation.
Well, it's hard to be a candidate for change and be part of the administration currently.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
people, good or bad, whatever the reason, have a problem with, whatever the problem is. How can you be believed to be the candidate of change and you were part of that administration? And in 117 days, I think she walked a line of trying to get people to know who she was, but trying not to discredit Biden. It's a very hard thing to do. Um, period. It's a hard thing to do to not take on what you disagree with the president and why you're going to be different. You know what I'm saying? And keep the support of you know Democrats
Listen,
with the president. So, but the bottom line. But I think one of the bigger things is that we haven't addressed, and you actually addressed in your article about the change between podcasts and mainstream media. Going back, remember when Obama first got into the game, he used social media and changed the way politics. He used social media in such a way that had never been done before, and it's something that everybody's trying to do now. And he changed the game. Equally, the Republicans and the Trump administration use podcasts in addition to social media over mainstream media. And a lot of young people under 30, under 35, get their news from social media and from podcasts, as
right.
opposed to ABC, NBC, CBS, and MSNBC, CNN, even Fox. You know what I'm saying? They go to the Joe Rogans, the high rating podcasts. And podcasts have been changing the game in politics, entertainment, comedy, and everything. Look at what Shannon Sharp did with the what you call the interview he did with what's his name, Cat Williams interview. That changed the game on a whole lot. Look at that. Look at how many people watch that interview, watch repeats of that interview, watch clips of that interview. Now people like Spotify saw that this podcast thing was good, and
Here go video.
they spent 200 million for the exclusive rights to the Joe Rogan show, and that's the number one podcast. You can only see it on Spot. They spent 200 million for exclusive rights, and other platforms are seeing that. They're seeing numbers that smaller numbers than Rogan, but what Shannon Sharp is
Yeah.
doing, what other people are
Look,
doing.
look. Joe Rogan Trump interview got 67 million views. Rogan Elon Musk drew 15 million views. And JD Vance, 16 million views.
Dealing with just the Trump interview,
The main
the Trump interview got over twice as many views as the Trump Biden debate on mainstream TV. Less than half the people that
that,
saw the Trump interview on Rogan watched the Trump Biden debate.
not only that, the Trump interview got more views than the View. When the View, you understand? It got more views than these news stations on politics. Not only that, more young people watch these alternative podcasts and video shows than they watch CNN or MSNBC. See,
You
it's
can watch it on your
changing.
phone and you don't need cable.
Exactly.
You don't have to have a cable
Exactly.
provider. You don't have to have a cable package in your house anymore. and you can watch all of this stuff
Well,
because
I don't.
they all. I don't either. I have a little Roku package, but that still doesn't give me all the mainstream stuff, the CNN, the MSNBC. I catch most of my stuff on YouTube
Right.
because every major interview, podcast, or whatever, they're putting clips of it or the entire thing on YouTube these days. So you can actually see all those things after the fact without even having to watch it live on TV, on mainstream TV. And it's funny, the other stat, and I sent you a bunch of graphics, even though more young people are getting their news from um, podcasts, they're not watching podcasts by the news organizations like the MSNBC podcast. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
But
Right.
they're catching their news from podcasts, but not from the news organizations who have YouTube channels and podcasts. That's one of the graphics I sent you.
No, no, absolutely. I only got time to put one up because we was. Oh, wait a minute. That's
And,
one of the third. About a third of podcast listeners have tried. Like the podcasts are so. That's why they call them influencers, because the podcast, a third, about a third of podcast listeners have tried lifestyle changes because the podcast that they're listening to. So you're on
and
MSNBC.
to be clear, lifestyle changing meaning working out more, healthy diets,
Well,
and no,
not
no,
only
because
that,
I'm saying lifestyle
right?
change could mean a lot of other things right now.
Lifestyle changes could be I was a Democrat, now I voted Republican.
Oh no, but it could be other things too that we don't
No,
have
no, no,
to.
I get that, but we're talking in the political realm, right? I'm a Democrat, but now I'm going for a Republican. Younger people like Elon Musk, and they like what he's talking about in futures and Bitcoin and doing. This is the young people talk.
And not
That's
only
what they
that,
talk.
while you mentioned Republicans, one of the graphics that I sent you shows that it's equal across the board between Democrats and Republicans who get their news from podcasts.
Right.
You can see the first
More.
graphic, Democrats is even more, and then the second is even more. So it's across the board. It makes no
The
difference
Demo-
between Republican.
First of all, here's the thing. It says Democrats watch it more than Republicans. So if you're getting 67 million views on this person, 20 million views on that person, 20 million, who are you? You're influencing not just Republicans, you're influencing Democrats. Because if the numbers are correct, they watch more. 54 to 46,
Right.
69 to 65.
And this is
So so
and this is
so
Pew Research, so we know
right. So
this is
so
official.
he pulled that little bit of Democrats that he needed to win because he went on
Democrats, the first time voters, undecided
exactly
voters, the independent,
and young people
right, who weren't watching
and young people.
and who are not watching MSNBC and CNN and Fox on the regular.
And I was watching on YouTube actually, Smith Kaskanjic, whatever his name is on CNN.
Mitch, yes.
Yeah,
I
whatever his
can't
name.
say his name because you messed it up. I can't say his
Yeah,
name, but yes, he out of Pennsylvania. Yes, yeah.
right, right. Now he brought a guy on, and they were discussing the Trump phenomenon. And he said where the Democrats missed is the economy, not just for young men, but for mothers. See, when they were shocked that white women didn't come over to the Democratic side because they were pushing the women's movement thing, and the woman need to be president, that's their business if that's what they were pushing, and they were shocked. He said the reason why you had it because mothers have sons that are in their basement that can't afford to get a goddamn apartment.
And just for the record, it's Michael's Smirkanich. It's
Yeah,
not. Yeah.
and to the fact that before um, before pandemic, the average house was like 285,000. After pandemic is almost 500,000. Before pandemic, the average mortgage was like 1,800. After pandemic, the average mortgage is close to 3,000. So this is what I was saying a couple of shows ago when she was saying I didn't even buy it. Oh, I'm going to give you 25,000 to buy a house. 25,000 is not enough to buy a house.
Well, she said towards a house. That's not going to buy a
Well,
house.
towards the house. But if families are barely saving, they said the average family barely got $5,000 in savings. Just can't pull 5 grand out the bank. So how the hell that 25 is still not enough to buy a house? Your closing cost is close to 10 to 15.
I mean, it might help with the. You got to get a loan anyway, so it might help.
No. You have to have money. You gotta have the down payment. You gotta have the closing costs, which is 10 to 15,000. You gotta have that check when you do the closing. You gotta buy home insurance, which is another 2-3 grand. You gotta have that. You gotta pay that up front. So where is somebody that's making $55,000 a year? Where is he getting that from? And this is what people are thinking. And what they didn't give the message. They have to do a better message. And no matter what, no matter who's running, because let me tell you, the Democrats better get on point, because the way the numbers are going, if the Republicans are smart in New York, it's a high probability they could turn New York red. It's just the old fogey stogies of the Republican Party got to get out the way. And just like some of these old fogey stogies in the Democratic Party got to get out the way. Let it go. You done made your money. Let some of these young people come in that can talk to young people and relate to what they're going through, so you can have better campaigns. If you don't, you're going to lose. Democrats don't have a bench. Like what? And it's nothing against age, but what are we doing sending these old people down here? They've been in politics 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Get up and go. Put some young people in, because people are not voting for you. And the only reason Trump won is because he campaigned to young people. He put younger people out front. What's the old saying? AJ? Old men for counsel, young men for war.
Right.
Trump had young surrogates out front, not entertainers. Not entertainers. Nobody cared about the entertainers. Nobody cared about Beyonce. You muted yourself. Oh, okay. Nobody cared about Beyonce. Nobody cared about all them other ones. You heard Taylor Swift say one word about Kamala, and you ain't hear from her the rest of the election because somebody told her Republicans buy your stuff too. Democrats have to change their message. They have to change how they deliver the message. You can't shame. Yo, the shaming was insane. And you ran people away. 15 million Democrats didn't vote. Black men, they did their job. They stayed the numbers that they were supposed to. So you can't blame black men. You ain't going to win all black men.
I think 77, 73% or something like that. It was a
Yeah,
big.
they're second under black women. They always been that. Black women has been the highest voting bloc for the Democrats, and underneath black women is black men. So the shaming was uncalled for. And Obama should be ashamed of themselves. And I wish I downloaded the clip where Van Jones finally said what he needed to say, that was uncalled for.
%78% of black men. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
that's a good
I
number.
wanted to give an exact number. So again, for those watching on the multiple social media platforms, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear what you think. So please feel free to put your comments in, whether you agree or disagree. We want to know what you think. Yo, talking about going back to the podcast format as opposed to mainstream media, since everything is local, we seen that in the 10 years of Black Westchester, where elected officials and candidates came on for an hour interview to be able to speak in such a way and at more length and detail than they ever could in Low HUD or News 12 or Files when it was still around, or all the major newspapers. And we've seen both Democrats and Republicans calling us for interviews to come on People Before Politics, because you get a longer form interview. And that's what they were talking about in the Joe Rogan interview and several other interviews that Trump did. He did some of the top podcasts. Is more of a longer form. You can speak more, and you can speak in more detail than you can in mainstream media, and that's what podcasts bring you and deliver to you. So we've seen that in the 10 years of Black Westchester and People Before Politics on a local level. So this is a trend where it's at least half now, but in the next couple of years, going into 2028, and they said I think 2032, it's going to be like 3/4 of the people are going to get their news from podcasts. They're going to be more listening to podcasts than the MSNBCs and the CNNs and all of that. They're losing touch. And again, like Obama realized social media was important, he flipped the script using social media like nobody else did. The Trump administration, people have to watch what he did now, and reaching out to podcasts. And podcasts reach out to a whole different audience. Sometimes first time voters, people who had never voted, people, young people, and undecided voters, and your independents, and all of them reached a lot more of those people than the traditional news outlets did. And that's a shift that if Democrats don't engage more in and realize the trend, they're going to get more left behind. And hopefully that'll be a lesson learned from this election.
So no, and they're gonna have to learn. So even here in New York, In this presidential election, their win dropped by 23.2 percentage points. No, they had a lead of 22.3 under Biden over Trump. That dropped down to 11.6. And this is in New York.
It's funny you said that. Like I said about people before politics, those who won elections in New York State and New York City, including Tish James and Mayor Eric Adams and Jamani Williams, they've all appeared on People Before Politics to talk to the audience. Even those that like Eric Adams, like people in Westchester couldn't vote for him, but there are people in the city that watch People Before Politics, and he came on and did an interview. Tish had a state thing, so she needed Westchester.
But,
Jamani
but
also in his run for lieutenant governor, which he came very close to beating Hochul in that election. He appeared on People Before Politics to reach out to that Westchester and surrounding area
well,
audience. They knew who
well, Westchester has a problem because the Republican vote went from 31.3 to 37%. 31.3 2020 to 37% in 2024, right? But check this out. In 2020, the Democratic vote in Westchester was 312,337. It dropped down to 267,428. See, so what does that tell us? The Republican is inching up, and the Democrats vote are inching down. See, when I started in 1990 in the Department of Corrections, it was under a Republican. It was equal. Now, maybe a lot of white people is ashamed of Trump. I don't know. But we know it was some weird things going on in the Jamal Bowman thing because Republicans was jumping over to the Democratic side.
to vote in the Democratic primary, right? And again,
Voted.
locally, Republicans realize the importance of platforms like Black Westchester and People Before Politics. The Republican in the Westchester DA race, the Republican in the county executive race, and the Republican in the congressional 17th district race all reached out to Black Westchester to find out how much it was to advertise in Black Westchester.
But
When,
not only that.
when the Democrats, who normally get our support in all three races, even when they were given the rates and everything, did not see the importance of advertising in Black Westchester.
No, because they take things for granted. And I'm gonna tell you, if the Republicans, if the Westchester County Republicans or the state have listen, Trump gave them the blueprint on what to do. They just have to do it, and the Democrats is going to have a problem.
And even
Yeah.
after the election, we already heard from one or two Republicans that won
Exactly.
that said they would be calling soon to come on the show. They already
Exactly.
won. But
So y'all better get y'all Democrats better get in line. Democrats better get in line, and they better stop taking the people for granted because you can lose it. You can lose it.
well, let's not act like New York has never had a Republican governor, a Republican mayor of New York City, a Republican county exec. When we started this, there was a Republican county exec who won two races and beat the Democrats handedly in Astorino. Let's pretend it can't, like, to say it can't happen, it has happened. And it's not a far stretch that we could end up again with a Republican CE in the future, a Republican governor. What's her name? Hochul had her hands full with was the Republican that ran against her, who also reached out to our show. He she had her hands full. She didn't beat him by large numbers. That she barely won that race, and so we can get another Republican governor, another Republican mayor of New York City, another Republican CE, and we have and for that to happen, all of those people that we named had Democrats that came out and endorsed him. Large Democratic pastors came out and endorsed Astorino. You know what I mean? So it's just like we've done the story, so I don't need to name the names anymore. But large black pastors came out and endorsed Astorino, and that's here in Westchester. And I know for a fact that when people keep saying it can't happen, black people in Mount Vernon, there was a percentage of black people in Mount Vernon that voted for Trump. In Mount Vernon, the black city.
Yeah, listen.
In the early voting, they came out strong in early voting. She got more votes on election day, but in early voting, I can't say the number, a third or fourth or whatever, but even in the city of Mount Vernon, there were Trump votes from black people,
I believe it.
which is something that if I told you that 8 years ago, you'd have laughed and been like, "Oh, there's no way." All norms are like we've complained about the duopoly between the Republicans and the Democrats for decades. We talked about the power of the third parties. We started the Independence Party in Mount Vernon. The Republicans and the Democrats raised the numbers under Cuomo to help decapitate the third parties.
It was just the Democrats. They had control of both houses. So,
The Republicans voted for it too. Like I'm just saying, it wasn't. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
they had control of it.
Well, I said under Cuomo as
Yeah.
good. That was clear. Cuomo's the good, but across the board, Republicans and Democrats voted because by politically decapitating third parties, it keeps them safer. When the independents was really making numbers, and there's been history here where the Republicans tried to take over the Westchester Independence Party and politically decapitate the head of the Westchester Independence Party. So it's been done on both sides to kill the third parties and make it harder. But very few survive. But Working Family Party has actually got enough numbers that they will be in the next election. They officially got enough numbers that they will be. So they're still standing.
Who?
The Working Family Party.
Oh,
Yeah, they got the numbers.
yeah, but what? I don't know. Sometimes, man, the Working Families Party got to do harder too because still the Conservative Party is turning out more than the Working Families Party.
Right. So
I mean, I'm just,
people got to support them third parties though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there is a choice.
Well, I mean, and that's why a lot of Democrats who was upset with the war went third party.
You remember when the Independence Party we went to an Independence Party convention. The number of independents in New York was growing in New York and around the country to the point that it was becoming a danger. And that thing about increasing the vote helped kill. There is no Independence Party in at least Westchester. I don't know about New York State, but at least Westchester, there's no Independence Party no more because they were becoming a threat. They were a big threat. People were voting independent.
Yeah, people was voting independent. I mean, but they don't want a third party system.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it should be you could run. You should be able to run. Kennedy said it best. He said they fought to keep him off the ballot. Democrats. They fought to keep him not part of any primary debate, right? When he decided to withdraw and support Trump, they fought to keep him on the ballot.
Well, his number in New York State, in several states, he got numbers. He got 10%. He got 5%. Whatever the vote, he was on the ballot. He got numbers, even though he took
Right.
himself off. His name still appeared on the ballot.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but
I
the
don't know if it was
Democrats.
in New York, but in other
No, he
states.
wasn't. He wasn't on the ballot in New York.
But when I see the numbers, you see Trump's numbers, you see Harris numbers,
Yeah,
and
he
then you
was in a
see
lot
his
of.
numbers, and
He
then you
was in a lot
see
of swing states.
what was who else was it? Jill Stein. There was
Jill
another
Stein.
person. Yeah, those four you seen the numbers, and then there was a fifth person that barely got any numbers. But his name, even withdrawn, his name was still on the ballot in a lot of states. He got hundreds of thousands of votes.
Well, hey man, listen.
Him and Jill Stein combined, I think we had added up. It was like 1.7 million votes that they got.
Right, right.
So that's a small number, but and again, people talk about the threat of the third party. If you, as I said in the election, if you had taken that 1.7 and added it to Kamala Harris's numbers, it still would have been not enough to
No.
beat Trump. She still would have been short a few millions. She would have been short millions after. So you can't say that those hurt the Democratic Party. Then if you look in the states, the margin, and this has been not just this election, this has been several elections. The margin in both elections that Trump won, the margin that he won in some states was like 22,000 in some states, and it was over 300,000 black people who didn't vote. Like the margins that he won by, there were greater numbers of black people who hadn't, just black people who didn't vote in those states. There wasn't
Well,
just
I
the
mean,
votes.
look, 15 million Democrats
So a
didn't
lot,
vote.
right, so a lot of people stayed home. That's what I'm saying. A lot of
Yeah,
people,
yeah. A lot of people stayed home. But see, the question is, we got to get to why. What was the why?
and
Right?
that's what I kept saying. Democrats have to ask why their major demographic, black people, why Trump got more votes in 2024 for black people than he did in 2020 and 2016. Um, what in the messaging pushed those black people away? Latinos voted in higher numbers. He got more Latino voters, and this is with all the rhetoric and all the racist comments and all the things. People still voted for him, and you have to ask why, and you have to identify that issue. What is it that pushed them away? And while there is racism and sexism in this country, there are sexist people who did not vote for Kamala Harris, but everyone who didn't vote for Kamala Harris is not sexist. Let me be clear about that. But there are sexist and racist people that did not vote for her, but everyone who didn't vote for her wasn't sexist and racist. So to say it was just that, that was not just it. That did play a part because this country is both sexist and racist, and we've seen that.
No, absolutely. But you just can't blame everything. You can't blame everything on someone being sexist and someone being racist, because what transcends everything is economics. It's economics. That's why the most greatest saying from Jim Carville, who has been one of the greatest strategists, political strategists, was, "It's the economy, stupid. It's the economy."
And he read a book. Didn't he read a book with that title or something?
Yes, the economy. It's the economy.
It's the economy stupid. I think that was the
Right,
title.
right. But that was his saying when he used to come on TV. It's the economy. That's all it is. That's all it is. And people, whether they like it or not, felt better when Trump was president. You can't say things like that when he was already president. And you can't, and if people are telling you that, then you have to switch your message.
Well, I mean, it's all presidents don't get second elections, because a lot of people vote against the party
No,
that
no,
was
no,
in.
and no. I
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but you have to change the message.
yeah.
Like they were, oh, why would Muslims or why would American Palestinians? One dude said on TV, my family was alive under Trump. So what are you going to tell him?
Gaza was a major issue. The handling of Gaza was a major issue, especially for a lot of younger people, first time voters.
Exactly.
Gaza,
Exactly.
the handling of Gaza for this administration, and she was part of the administration. And that's all people saw that felt that they saw that. And it don't hurt that Trump said, this didn't happen under his administration. There was no war under his, this, that, and the other. Those things add up. And there was a lot of rhetoric and there's always rhetoric in campaigns. There was a lot of rhetoric and false information, but that is to be expected in all elections. But why people were eager to believe that over what you were saying and over what you were doing has to be something the Democrats have to examine. They have to look in the mirror, and they have to, like my partner Raheem Shabazz, he said they got 4 years to get it right. So one of the comments from the people were like, "No, he got 2 years to get it right because there's a midterm election to try to retake the House and the Senate, so that he have some guardrails and checks and balances. If they don't, if they don't, the Republicans will remain to keep the Senate and the House for the 4 years that he's president. He can't run again. People were concerned about that. There's a 22nd Amendment after FDR ran for 4 terms. And a president can only run 2 terms. Doesn't have to be 2 consecutive terms, but 2 terms, period. So there is no next term for Trump. But if the Democrats do not get it right before the next presidential election, it might not matter. So, Now I will say this though. So I've always said this, no matter who the party is. I said this when the Democrats took over all branches of government in New York. When you have all branches of government, you have nobody to blame. In Trump's previous administration, he blamed some things of not being able to get through on Democrats. He will not have that as an excuse. So things that he promised to do, if he doesn't do it, there is no one to blame. When you have the presidency, the House and the Senate, or on a state level, you got the governor and the state Senate and the Assembly, like New York has. You can't blame any of your failures of your administration on the other party. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the numbers to do anything. You have the numbers, no matter how outrageous the policy is, whether it goes through or not, you have the numbers to push it through on both sides. Now, Democrats will push up. They'll make all the noise they can. They'll do everything to make the vote go over and over and over and do all the kind of things they can do. But the Democrats won't be able to stop. So that means if Trump does not do what he promised to do, and voters need to listen to that because y'all heard the things he said he was going to do, the things that you liked. If he doesn't do it, the danger of having all forms of government, you have nobody to blame. Like if the Democrats had the House, he'd be able to say, well, the Democrats in the House, the Senate passed it, the Democrats in the House wouldn't let it go through.
Let me see. This is what I don't like. I'm sorry, man. So Al Sharpton says that they have to rally, they have to march on Inauguration Day. Let it go. Let it go. They always got to get money. They got to turn everything into a march.
Well, there's text messages that went out from the people that were sending out text messages to raise money for Kamala Harris to talk about pushing for her to take over as president right now.
For what? Just
I refused to read the whole thing. It was
we have got symbolism crazy. What are you marching for on inauguration? What are you marching for on inauguration? So for the other side to say, well, we're just as bad, for the other side to say, well, they're just as bad. Now, once you put yourself in a predicament of a march, you allow yourself to have co-conspirators in your march to start burning shit and set up shit.
And they'll say that was the same thing as the insurrection.
Exactly. How stupid can you be, Al, to put yourself in a position that all they have to do is get some Negroes to go down there to your march and tear shit up.
And we have a history that if you pay the right to black people, they'll go up there and be disruptives and be in there.
Well, remember when they were doing the Black Lives Matter all over, Eric Adams said, these are not protesters.
Right.
These guys are well trained.
The guys in the cities in Baltimore and the other cities when things burned down, in Ferguson on the street level the from the street level they were like these people were not with us. These people came in here to cause destruction. They're not with us. But I found the text that I was talking about. I just want to read it to you. So, and this is the 30330 when you get texts the whole time throughout the campaign to donate to the Kamala Harris Tim Walz campaign. Team, the result of the presidential election weren't what any of us hoped for. But as the vice president said, we cannot throw up our hands when it's time to roll up our sleeves. Right now, there's a number of very important races that have yet called. That's before the calls, blah, 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 blah. The one before that is the one who talked about her moving her to president. I'm trying to find that one. Yeah, I deleted half of these messages because the 3033, they was hitting me like 10 times a day asking for $40 and $50 and $30 and $20 messages from everybody. But there's a thing that came out from the Harris Fight Fund. That's that talked about putting through something, contributing to the Harris Fight Fund program so they can push for her to be president to finish out the presidency for Biden.
No.
And
No. First of all, let me tell you something. That would be so disrespectful to the man that beat Trump.
Right.
That will be disrespectful to Biden.
Right.
You already forced the man out of the race. You already forced him out of the race. Now you're going to make him step down and put Kamala in so we could say that we had a black woman president? Because that's all it is. That's all it is. You're going too far. You have gone too far. And y'all continue to go too far. To take Biden out of the president's seat and put her in there for 2 months? Not even 2 months. And then you gonna take Biden and make him vice president again and make Kamala Harris president again? How you gonna do? What are y'all talking about?
Well, I don't know who would be vice president, but it would be Biden.
Right, but this is insanity. They are literally going insane. They're literally going insane. They're literally going. I wish you'd have sent me the screenshot of that text message, because they're literally going insane. I don't even believe, that shit is crazy. It's crazy. I'm trying to put up this Al Sharpton thing. Al, you got to stop, man. You got to stop. You're going to put yourself and you're going to put black people in a bad predicament down there. And it only takes a few to act a fool. And cops, they're not going to be so restrained. I gotta put this up, man. I'm trying to send it to my computer. Whoever knows Al, they need to call him. This is a bad idea.
So, USA Today, Jamal Simmons, a former communication director for Kamala Harris, made an unlikely suggestion about how the vice president might still have a chance of becoming president in 2024 if Joe Biden steps down from office. Asked on Sunday what he thought would be the most important thing to watch in the 77 days until President Donald Trump's inauguration.
Why?
Simmons suggested Biden could resign from the presidency in the next 30 days and make Kamala Harris the president of the United States. If Biden had been a phenomenal president, Simmons says, has been, he's lived up to so many of his promises he made. There's one more promise left that he could fill, becoming a transitional figure.
That's great. Let me tell you something. Straight music. The Democrats eat their own.
Well, we've said that forever. We've said that. The Democrats are the only army that that kills is wounded. Like, in the army, it's like leave no man behind. The Democrats are the army that kills their wounded.
Right. It's horrible. It's literally horrible that they are actually going to force Joe Biden out. Never been done in history. Never been done in history that you're going to force a man out in December. And the man that beat Trump. Just to say we had a black woman president. How fickle are we as people and the Democratic Party?
Others have joked that Biden clearing the way for Harris. For example, Pod Save America co-host and former speechwriter for former President Barack Obama, John Lovett, said Harris' loss means Jimmy Carter has to stay alive for at least 4 more years now.
What does that have to do with anything?
So he can see a black woman president. Because for people that don't know, Carter's been in hospice care for over a year.
Listen,
and he's hanging in to vote. He said he was hanging on to vote for Harris. That's why.
Well, he might as well let the ghost go. He might as well just let the ghost go. Because if the Democrats keep running, see, they're still missing the issue. She could run in another 4 years. But if you still don't have a message, if you're still pushing to the people the same old stuff you was pushing, you're not gonna beat J.D. Vance. It's not gonna happen. So this is
Y'all gotta forgive me. I got the sniffle, so I'm blowing my nose. I keep muting myself.
This is what Al Sharpton's doing.
Al says Trump foes must what? Mobilize. Plans DC rally on inauguration. I don't know. What's going to cause so?
What is wrong with you, Al? What is wrong?
But what's going to happen is, first off, we've said during after January 6th, if those were black people on them steps, there would have been a whole lot of black people killed. Mobilizing black people in D.C. on inauguration, the Republicans, all their Proud Boy people and all that other stuff, they're going to be ready for that, and there's going to be some kind of clash. It's going to be
No.
even if Democrats, black people come out there and mean peace, it's not going to be peaceful.
Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. That's what he wants to happen. That's what he wants to happen. Because they have to continue this racist trope. They have to continue that it's all about race. They have to continue that because that's how they make their money.
Well, this is a racist country, and you can prove
No.
that.
This isn't. No,
But you can
wait.
But you can prove
Wait.
that without putting the black people in danger.
Listen.
In DC,
We understand. See, enough is enough. We understand race plays a role in some of that, and some of that is black people's fault because we are dependent. We are not independent. We're dependent on everything the white man does. That's our fault. That's our fault. And you know I said it. The white man disappeared tomorrow. The black man and woman won't have shit. Because they own everything. We don't own nothing. So they could be racist with their stuff. If we owned airline companies, or we own hotels, I'm talking about national. I'm not talking a little hotel here and there for some of y'all silly Negroes that's watching. I'm talking about Hiltons and Marriotts, which we could have, but we rather go to the white man stuff. We rather go to theirs instead of support our own.
way before the election, black people with money were killing themselves to go to Trump hotels.
Exactly.
He was mentioned more.
Exactly.
His name dropped in every. How many name drops he received in hip hop records?
Exactly. But at the end of the day, we can't continue this because it gets us nowhere, bro. It gets us nowhere, and the only people that get paid is motherfuckers like Al Sharpton.
So, as I always try to do.
And I love you to death, Al, but you shouldn't ignite nothing like that.
So, as I always try to do, we talked about what the problem is. What's the solution?
The solution is our unity and faith. But we barely got faith if we actually read the Bible. And we damn sure ain't got no unity because we don't support each other on a national level. We still look for the government to take care of ourselves. Black churches, and I said it, I'm going to keep saying it, $11 billion they generate every year. We spend almost $2 trillion. We don't need anybody. We just need our faith and our unity, but it's never going to happen on a large scale.
What publication is that you're showing us?
I don't know. I got that off of Al Sharpton's Twitter page.
Oh.
He posted it.
No, I know. I just always refer to like.
It's probably the Daily News. It looked like the Daily News.
Look like a magazine as opposed to a newspaper.
But I think it's a bad idea. I think you're putting black people in danger. I think you're creating a narrative that we don't need at this point. The man ain't even been there. The man, they planning this, and he ain't even been there a year. Now I can see if he was doing all the bad things y'all said he did, he didn't even get in yet. What are you marching for? What are you marching for? See, they say Trump was a threat to democracy. He got the popular vote, and he won the election. Uh-oh, I froze.
Yeah, you was doing that a little bit, a few times during this whole thing. Okay, we lost Damon. Here, I guess he's gonna come back in. We lost Damon. He's offline. He's trying to get back in. He's trying to get back in. Okay, he's off. Now we're gonna wait for him to come back in. Well, everybody, you watching Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 416, celebrating 10 years of giving you the news with the Black point of view and real talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You are connected. Yes.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was getting the mic. The mic was getting hot.
Well, I don't know, but you were. There was a few times when you were talking.
Yeah, I
you
saw
were-
that it froze.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I'm still trying to figure what's going on. I think I've got to update my whatchamacallit.
I thought it was just on my end that you were freezing, and because nobody said nothing, so
Yeah.
it was just my end.
But as I was saying, man, and we're gonna get up, we're gonna close it out. It's almost 8 o'clock. As I was saying, man, Al, don't do that. It's not a good look. You shouldn't do it. You really shouldn't do it.
When is this calling for to do it?
Inauguration Day.
Oh, okay. Because I got something. He was planning something for yesterday.
No, this is Inauguration Day. Like, really, dude? We won't go back. Go back to what? Wait till something happens. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. We just continuing the narrative. Democracy worked. At the end of the day, we say it. I don't care if people don't like it. It is what it is. But now we're marching. We're marching for what? Because he won? See, I know racism exists, but I also know being someone who worked with families that was killed by police and where racism sells. Racism sells. And to have a march on Inauguration Day talking about we're not going back on, no, that's selling racism. I don't care if y'all like it, if y'all don't like what I say or not. Because I could put up my career in fighting against racism and fighting for civil rights against the best of them. But that, let me put this back up because I don't think y'all understand.
Yo, Trump ain't no joke. So, Nikki Haley, I just want to read this real quick. Nikki Haley, in the span of a few months, she rapidly changed the heart, had a rapid change of heart, moving saying the former president was unfit for office to accusing him of demeaning service member to endorsing him on stage at the Republican National Committee. Even after playing nice, she'd been publicly snubbed by Donald Trump in a post which stated that she and the former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will be excluded from his second administration. So,
No, which is well, I don't know about Haley, but I thought it was good that he didn't put Pompeo.
right, but I'm just saying Haley was like his last rival and was going at him, and she went from going after him, calling him unfit, to eventually endorsing him on the RNC convention. And he was like, "Oh, you're not welcome in my next."
Well, that's how politics work.
Yeah,
I mean, but what y'all seeing here, this is not good. This is not good. Wait, give the man a year. Only thing he's doing is fueling the fire of the nonsense, and we're going to be talking about this nonsense for the next 4 years. You know why? Racism sells. It sells.
hi, Leah Nelson. I agree. Do not march on DC on Inauguration Day. It sounds too dangerous. Shout out to Leah Nelson, a diehard supporter and listener to people.
Yes, thank you. And black people shouldn't go. Don't put yourself out there in danger. And you know how they're going to spin it. They're going to spin it on black folks. I can guarantee tell you that. Racism is alive, but there are those that make money off of racism.
Protest profiteers.
And this right here, and I love you, Al, but you're wrong. You're wrong. If you want to march, why don't you march up to Albany? Tell them they get to get New York right. Why don't you march in Mount Vernon? The city needs help. Hell, you going all the way down to D.C. and we couldn't even get you into Westchester for Kenneth Chamberlain shooting. This sells. Now, I hope some of y'all see this stuff sells. They pimp this stuff.
Reverend Al Sharpton on Saturday called for organizing like never before in the wake of Donald Trump's reelection, beginning with a rally in D.C. on Inauguration Day, which will fall on Martin Luther King Jr.'s day. While they are on one side of Washington swearing in Trump, we need to be in Washington saying that we're going to keep the dream alive. Sharpton told the crowd of supporters at the National Action Network headquarters in Harlem, we need to mobilize and organize like we never did before. I want them to be able to see that thousands of us are not broken and are not going to back up. We're not going to back up from what Dr. King stood for. We are not going to let anybody turn it around. Sharpton said, adding that the protests will be nonviolent, unlike the 2021 insurrection on the Capitol, noting that Republicans' control of the Senate and possible control of the House. He said the country is entering a new age that will challenge and in many ways harm our communities.
First of all, Dr. Martin Luther King wouldn't march on an inauguration day. That's number two. Number one. Number two, Dr. Martin Luther King would have sat down and met with Trump and gave demands. And then if he did not come to those demands, then he would march. Then he would march. Because then he had a reason to march. Negro, what's your reason?
He kept meeting with Lyndon B. Johnson, and he kept in the heat of the civil rights when there was marching and rioting and all that other stuff going on, making demands. And he was like, yo, you got to give me something. I can't go back and calm people down with nothing. And he kept meeting with him until he got what he got. You know what I'm saying? So, and also we talk about marching that they did in the 60s. There was a time when they didn't have social media. Marching was one of the major ways of getting the message out. They didn't have social media. They didn't have the podcasts and all the things we have now. What Leah said, you're right. I think we got to concentrate on New York State and we have to protect New York from MAGA, get qualified immunity ended in our state.
Right.
So,
But if you keep taking the focus off the real fight, you'll never get the fight done.
and that's why I said we, the people, have the power on our local level, which is our city municipalities, going to our county, and then moving up to state. We have a lot.
But how can you when you got these people? When you got him, oh, we gotta go down to DC. We gotta do all that. You can't. Because they become a distraction. Trump has been a distraction, and they have promoted Trump for the last 10 years. 10 years, bro. And they still doing it. You know why? Because it makes money. He has been the best thing for these Negroes. He has been the best thing for mainstream media. Money, money. They get money, commercials to talk about Trump, to talk about Trump. And it all backfired, and they promoted him. And here we go again. Here we go again. The man ain't even sworn in. Ain't even get his cabinet sworn in, and you're marching. What the fuck are you marching for? He didn't do nothing. Like, some of this stuff becomes so insane. And it's not defense of Trump. I'm just calling this foolishness out. We get distracted. And let's be honest. We've been marching for jobs and justice for damn 55 years. And we still ain't got it right. And we still ain't got no jobs, and we still ain't got no justice under Democrats and Republicans.
Well, I want to say, as we coming close to the coming to the close of the show, Democrats have been shown, black people and Democratic voters have shown that you cannot continue to take their vote for granted. You cannot promise stuff and not give it to them. And this had a lot to do with a lot of frustration over a lot of years, not just now. Um, and you saw a lot of black people and a lot of groups just like, yo, like I will agree with Damon on one thing. Every year we're told, well, the other side is worse and we need to vote for this side, the best, the better of the two evils, or whatever that expression
The
is.
lesser of the
The
two.
lesser of the two evils. At some point, you're still voting for evil. And at some point, when do we say, no, we're still not getting what we want? And there's some people that voted no contest in certain states. There's some people that stayed home. And there's some people that voted Republican to send a message to the Democratic Party. Now, the Democratic Party has to earn back the support that they've counted on for decades and decades and decades, that they took for granted from black and brown people, from poor people. They it was just a foregone conclusion. No, black people gonna vote Democrat. A lot of people were frustrated. I don't know if that's the way you handle it. I mean, I'm not them, but what what Martin Luther King, after George Floyd, this became the most overused phrase. The riot is the language of the unheard. This was the unheard being heard, that were tired of being unheard. This was their riot, just not voting for the Democrat. Not voting at all or not voting for the Democrat. You can't keep taking things for granted for all these years and just assume that black and brown people are gonna just unilaterally continue to vote for you, and they have a certain amount of time to get it right and to understand that, and now they have to earn back those black voters they lost, those brown voters they lost, the voting populations that they lost. They have to earn that back. What are you going to do to earn that back? Complaining, we got to stop just with the complaining and the doom and gloom. The world is going to be over and all this other things. I do honestly say some of the stuff concerns me. Keeping it real. My job here at Black Westchester is to hold the feet to the fire of whoever's in office, to call out whatever atrocities of all the elected officials, and it doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. The people, there's a saying that I said very many times after several elections. There's a saying: the people get the government they deserve because they get the government they vote for, and that includes not voting. So there's going to be a lot of people who chimed in and said why they wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris, and they voted for Trump or didn't vote, that are going to be complaining over the next 2 to 4 years. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Like, I don't. What you do from now. Yes, AJ, Dems are failing us.
No, we're failing
Well,
ourselves.
that too, and and
We're
and that's from
failing
and that's from one
ourselves.
of our white listeners, not a black person too,
Huh?
but and that's from a white listener, not a black person. The Dems are failing us. Two things are true: we're failing ourselves, absolutely, black people, and Dems are failing us. They both those things are true,
Yeah, no, but we're failing ourselves because we're not holding them accountable. You
and
know,
that's and that's what I said about
right.
local elections and your
And
local
you just have
involvement and
to,
your local engagement.
but we continue to vote for these same. We continue to vote for them, like soon, like they have to learn. Like
This should
people were talking.
this should be a learning moment for them.
Well, no, they're not learning. You know why? They're doubling down on the narrative that they've been saying. They're doubling down on it.
It's time to listen to the people. The people are not
They're
feeling.
doubling down. Like, come on, man. This is enough. Enough is enough. Listen to the people. Yeah, if Al Sharpton, if you were so worried about what Trump was doing, you should wait till he get in and have a meeting and give him
The black agenda.
an agenda instead of fucking marching. Give him an agenda. This is what we want to see you to do. See, what black people are failing to understand that at this point we have power on both sides. And those that are listening, what does your financial person, they tell you to diversify. Don't put all your money in this account. You need to have some over here. You need to have some over there. We put all our money in the Democratic Party.
The funny thing is, before Trump ran for any office, that's what Trump did. Remember when he was in the first Republican um, um, uh, uh, debate or whatever with like that whole stage of
Right.
Republicans, and he said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I put money in all your pockets on
But
both sides."
no, but that's what but that no, but that's what rich people do. That's what rich people do. People they give money to all sides. When I was on the executive when I was on the executive board of the Westchester Correction Union, we gave money to both sides.
When people gave had beef with Ice Cube because he met with the Democrats and he met with the Republicans, and he told them even if his agenda or whatever it was that he had wasn't co-signed by a lot of people, he came with some sort of agenda that people didn't agree with, and he said, "This is what we want." And he told both sides, and people got mad that he met with Trump and them.
Right. And but why
But you're supposed to meet with both sides, though. Like,
exactly. So my whole thing with Al Sharpton is, what are you marching for, bro?
oh, and the Democrats really didn't want to meet with him at first, so he met with the Republicans first. He
Right.
reached out to the
He
Democrat. He
met the
mentioned
Republicans. He met with the Republicans first because the Democrats wouldn't even sit down with him.
right, and he reached who he reached out to first. Right,
But my thing is, what are you marching for if you ain't sit down with him and give him an agenda?
and that's what Martin Luther King did. Since we want to talk about Martin Luther King,
Exactly. And he's
he
quoting
came.
Martin Luther King.
He
Martin
came
Luther
with an agenda to Lyndon B. Johnson. He came with an agenda that had to do with voting and had to do with several other things. He came with an agenda, and they met several times. And
we have to, man, we have to stop. We have to really stop. They just keeping black people going around in circles and circles and circles. Go down there and give him an agenda. And then if it doesn't get done, then you march.
and to quote the late great Hafiz Muhammad, the problem with some of these marches is there's no or else.
Right. You can't have a right, exactly. Listen,
We
you
want
can't have
this, we want this, or else.
exactly.
What is the or else?
There's no
To give,
or else.
to give them any inspiration to do what it is that you're talking about. We come with demands, but there's never a or else. Or else we won't vote for you, or else we won't financially support whatever. What is the or else? And we have to follow our demands with an or else. And that's one of the things we failed to do. Now I know a lot of people are still hurting and feeling what they're feeling, and that's what it is.
A lot of people need
But you
counseling.
need, but yeah, need counseling. That's one thing too. But again, it starts on your local level. In Mount Vernon, we got council races and everything coming up next year. We got a lot of races coming up. We got a mayor race coming up after that. We got a county executive race coming up next year. We have a lot of important races locally coming up that we need to mobilize and utilize this frustration and mobilize around candidates that speak to us. And for the people running next year and the next 2, 3 years, you need to understand from this election that you cannot say the same old thing over and over and the same people are going to vote for you. People are fed up. You're going to have to earn those votes. And that's from both sides. That's to the candidates, those in office, and to the people, the public. You got to make them earn it. And we've been saying that the power of the black vote. How long has Black Westchester? We've been for 10 years. We've been around 10 years. And Damon's probably been talking about it longer than Black Westchester. But for 10 years, we've been telling you the power of the black vote. Not just giving your vote away without getting something for your vote. Like every other group of people, they demand something for their vote. We don't. We vote and then we go, yo, why you ain't doing this for us? I already got your vote now. Like we didn't gave the vote, the power of the vote. You didn't gave the
Right.
power away, and then you are coming from a point of weakness, begging for something when that person can't be in office without your vote. This starts locally. Local elections matter. We can't do anything to change the outcome of this election. For whatever, this country showed us who they are, and the people spoke. And that's what we got. And that's what we're going to have to deal with for 4 years. But you can make changes and protections in your local government, your county government, and your state government. And in 2 years, the candidates running for Senate and the House need to be able to speak and speak to the people in a way that reaches them if they have any plans to retake the House and the Senate to have some kind of guardrail so he can't push through everything like he might be able to do now. Whether he'll do it is one thing or another, but the power is there. There's nothing to stop him. And even if a court does make it and go all the way up to the Supreme Court, he has those people. And the dangerous part of that, Clarence Thomas and the other old guy, once Trump swears in, they're gonna retire and they're gonna put two young people in. That's gonna be for the rest of our generation and our kids' generation. They're gonna be in office. So, like pushing back, only pushback you have now is taking over your local, county,
That's
and
it.
state elections.
That's it. Look, they're strictly going to states' rights. That's the direction they're going. They're going to states' rights. So in whatever state you live in, you need to control your politics and stop allowing your local elected official to push it off to the next level of government and push it off to the next level of government and push it off to the next level of government.
You know what's crazy? Classic example. San Francisco was known for a lot of robberies, people robbing drugstores and stuff like that. The people in San Francisco got smart. They was like, okay, why are we locking up the toothpaste? Why not lock the people up that's stealing? So they, so
Exactly.
they voted to change it from a misdemeanor to a felony, which means
Exactly.
they don't qualify for cash bail. Like you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like that
Exactly.
was a vote
Exactly.
in this election in San Francisco. That's how you can,
Exactly.
no matter what they're
Exactly.
talking nationally, that's how you can affect your local. And you have
Exactly.
more effect in your local than you do anywhere else. And then if you do the right thing locally in your cities and municipalities and towns, and you do the right thing in your county, and then you move up and do the right thing in your state, you start getting attention in national people. You put people in the state, in the Senate, and the House that represents you. Now you're influencing a little bit of the what's going on the national level, but you got to start locally.
You
And we
have
have
to.
and people don't come out. As many people voted in this election, how many people are going to vote next year? And just take the city of Mount Vernon and the city council race next year. How many people are actually going to come out for that? How many people are going to come out for those races? How many people are going to come out for the school board and the library board elections? Those are your local elections. Your mayor, your city council, your comptroller. They affect more of your day to day than any president, Republican or Democrat. Your county legislators, your county executive, then your state senate and assembly. And for people who don't know, so on the state, just like you have a president on the national, you have the Senate and the House. On statewide, you have a governor, and then you have the state senate and the assembly, which is the equivalent of the Senate and the House on the national level. That's how you affect change. And teaching civics to our young people again so they understand what the hell goes on. A lot of our young people don't know. You know why they don't know? Their parents don't know. So how are they supposed to know?
Real talk.
We've had so many conversations with adults over the age of 40 who have no idea what civics are and what goes on in their local community on a political level. So how are they going to teach? A lot of teaching comes from home. How are they going to teach their kids the stuff they don't know? So anyway, I'm not going to keep beating the dead horse. It is what it is. The presidential election's over. What are you going to do now? And Democrats, what are you going to do to earn back Black and Latino voters and the demographics that you lost in the midterm elections and the next presidential election? A lot of thinking got to be done. A lot of looking in the mirror. And Black people, when are we going to come up with our own agenda and demand more for our vote? Those are my last words as far as this is concerned. So.
Yeah, man. So check me out tomorrow, 8 p.m. from the publisher's desk. How do we survive uh, this next presidential election? I talk about 5 points that we need to do as people, for your personal self, and then as a people, things that we need to do. So check it out. It's going to be 8 p.m. tomorrow on the publisher's desk, and we'll have the link for the scent of the week, so y'all could get it on. We'll have the link up, and y'all could get that. And I don't think it. I don't even think it costs a lot, man. It don't. I believe it don't even cost. It don't even cost. I think it's under $40.
That's what's up.
You know, I mean, we balling with a budget. we're
Well, that's been my tagline for a couple of decades.
yeah, but see,
Balling on a budget is how I get down.
see, my whole thing is, and I'm big on it, and my wife really she don't like it as much, but this one here, Kingdom, is $33. It's $33, and it lasts about 10 hours. On your clothes. It lasts
So
longer.
let me say this. So I get nothing from all of this. I'll be honest. But Damon did share a couple of bottles with me, and I went to a couple of these galas, and I was all dressed up. Y'all seen the pictures, and I had on one of the fragrance, and I got not only how good I looked with the weight loss, how good I smelled. I got a lot of comments on my smell, the scent. So and like I said, I don't know what the ones he gave me cost. I'm sure he didn't give me the most expensive ones. I'm sure he gave me the lesser expensive.
Yo, dude, look, I gave you. I think I gave you a Woody Oud. I gave you a Woody Oud, which is has the same as Tom Ford's Wood Wood Woody Oud, Tom and it has the same scent as Tom Ford's Oud Wood, and then I gave you another one that's like a Baccarat 540. So the red bottle was like a Baccarat 540, and the darker bottle that I gave you was the Woody Oud, which the Woody Oud is dope. Wintertime. That's a crazy.
Well, I think that's what I wore to the galas. I wore,
and that's long lasting, man.
Yeah.
That's
And I just wanted to say from personal experience, like I don't get nothing from Anita's. I am not making any money, and I'm just telling you, he gave me 2 bottles, and I got the response to the fragrance I was.
And that Woody Oud, like the Tom Ford, like I try to tell dudes, man, that you look if you want to spend $400 for a 30 ml, a 20 ml, a 20, 30, maybe 40 ml, fine. Or you want to get 100 ml on something that smells the same in that same woody tobacco type flavor, you're bugging.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what you said it, but I'm gonna confirm. Ain't nobody come to me and say, "Hey, you smell like you got the Tom Ford knockoff." Like everybody was just saying, everybody was just like, "Yo, what's that? You smell good." Like you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. A smell
scents don't have no what you
label.
say names, no labels.
No. The scent either you smell good or you don't.
Right.
It's just that simple. A scent don't have that label. And see, and when you have reports like people buying DR bags for $3,000-$4,000, in which they did a whole report, it only cost them $50 to make. What are we doing?
Well, I watched something recently with this rich couple, and it was one of them crime shows or whatever, and the rich lady had got robbed or something. She got the official bags and official jewelry, but she wore it to that gala. She brought the knockoff bag that looked just like it, and the jewelry. And when they got robbed, that's what they got. They didn't get their, and she said that's why she got an identical knockoff that looks so good that she carries around. She does not carry the official joint around like that. And I understand it's a TV show and it's a TV
But
drama.
But it's real.
It still makes the point
But that's That's what a lot of people do. Like when Coach bags was like the it. I knew a lady who had mad coaches, but like the crazy colors, like the yellows and purples and all that, they were knockoffs. Like she wasn't. She was like, I'm just buying this for an event,
And
and I
that's how
probably
it feels
won't even
sometimes.
use it. Right,
Right.
and I probably won't even use it. So I go buy a knockoff.
Well, you said this for 2 hours, so it's about to end.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing.
Oh, but it didn't. It didn't end. It said it was going to end. Okay,
What's
go ahead.
ending?
No, there was a thing that said live broadcast will end, and they had a countdown. But it still
Or
says
maybe it's one of these. Maybe it's one of the
one
things.
of the one of the platforms we lost.
Yeah, yeah. So and also Cinco, he said he wore fake jewelry and
Yes,
fake watches.
yeah.
He was like, I'm not spending all that money on that, and I don't blame him. Like sometimes like we get a lot of shit fucked up, and we wonder why we broke, and we working on these albums.
Yo. Also, just in closing, um, both Damon and I have a series of books. A lot of people are like, how can they support
Yeah, I'm getting
us?
ready to make a commercial on that too.
One of the things is purchase all our book. Our books are all available on Amazon. If you hit me personally, and then pay for the postage, I will mail you an autograph copy. Also, celebrating our 10-year anniversary, you can also make a donation if you don't have anything to advertise to keep us going. As we talked about the importance of local independent media and how people are going more to that than they are the mainstream media. You want to keep Black Westchester around, you got to support us. And you got a company, if you're a candidate, whatever, you need to take out an ad. So you need to advertise. And for those and I want to thank. There's a lot of people and they don't do it and they don't want their names mentioned, but a lot of people make donations and it could be as small as $20, $25 or whatever. And one person was doing $25 a month or whatever like that. We appreciate all of that. Those are the things that keep Black Westchester going. They pay for the external cost of the programs like this we're using and the program we use to create the newspaper and all those programs and stuff like that. They got to be paid for, and it helps us keep all of this free for the people, and that's the most important thing. A lot of sites you go to, look at Lowhut, for instance. After you read 3, 4 articles, 6 articles, whatever it is, then you have to pay. You
Yep.
know, you read all the free articles you read for the month, and they have a lot of their good stuff behind a subscribe. You know what I'm saying? So you got to subscribe to read some of the good stuff that you might want to read. Um, Podcasts, a lot of podcasts you have to subscribe to. You have to subscribe, and I mean not just free subscribe. You have to join. You have to pay for. We for 10 years we've kept all of this free for the viewer, for the listener to continue to do that. We can only do that with your advertising, with your contributions, and with your donations. And if you don't know how you can make a donation, or you want to find out how to make a donation or take out an ad, you can just email blackwestchester@gmail.com, and I will send you whatever the information for a donation or for ads, whatever it is that you are interested in to keep Black Westchester going. We appreciate all of you. We've been here 10 years. We probably didn't even know we would be here having this conversation with you 10 years later when we first started. But there was a lot of people said we wouldn't be around a year or two, and we're still here. There's a lot of people try to shut us down and discredit us. They're not around anymore, and we're still here. We are still standing, and it's all because of you, the people. And that's what we do it for. We do it for our people. So, with that said, this has been Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 416. Yes, 416 episodes. We are on usually every Sunday, 6 to 8. We came on 30 minutes late today. And we are simulcast live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, and occasionally on Instagram. And as these sites integrate with other sites, we might be coming to you on other formats. If you know a format we should be coming to you on that you use, hit us.
Oh yeah, we now on Rumble.
Oh, Rumble. See, I don't even know what Rumble is, but we on Rumble. So Rumble, young man, Rumble. So I know Ali. So anyway, thank you, the people. We do it for the people. We're still doing it for the people. Make sure you comment to the articles. Make sure you leave comments in the comment section on YouTube, or whatever format you're looking at this, make sure you subscribe, and it's still free to subscribe. Unlike a lot of places, subscribe so you are up to date on everything we are doing. And make sure you leave them comments because that helps the algorithm to let us be seen more and more places. You know what I'm saying? The more interaction we have from you to people, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand the whole algorithm thing, but it works and it helps the algorithm make us be seen by more people. So, thank you. We appreciate you. To all the veterans out there, to all who have served this country, happy Veterans Day tomorrow. All of our veterans. We cannot forget our veterans, the sacrifices they made, especially our black veterans who fought for a country that don't even love them. And when they came back, they got no love when they came back. We need to take care of our veterans. We need to salute our veterans. So happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there, including my brother Damon K. Jones, who served this country. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service, my brother.
Anytime, brother. We trying to make it happen, man.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's it. We've been on
We out. We
5
out.
minutes and 51 seconds. It's a wrap, baby.
This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're